Let's say you're a DM and you're making a dungeon in the wide sense, and maybe you use a network for a map, and you want to set up the monsters in them. What is an easy way to do that? This idea is from my D&D supplement, the Baatezu in the details make believable dungeons. A dungeon is a network of interconnected, mostly hostile locations populated with monsters and other challenges. The area outside can be neutral or even friendly, and there might be a safe community near somewhere. So why are the monsters in the dungeon? There are three contexts that can explain the presence of a monster. It can be native, it can be a guest, or it can be story-based. Native monsters live in the dungeon. They have a nest if they have a nest. For example, oozes don't have nests, but nesting monsters have a nest in the dungeon if they are native. And that's where they keep all their valuables, their young, their food, etc. Everything that they want to protect. The nest is surrounded by their territory. Now, if the monster is a predator, then it hunts on the territory. If the monster is an intelligent creature, then it will patrol the area to secure it. And if the different areas overlap, then you have to check if these native monsters can live next to each other, or if they will have some kind of interaction. For example, if the area of ooze culture and Duergar city are overlapping, then the Duergars will hermetically seal their city so that the oozes cannot get in, which will make it harder for the party to enter the Duergar city. Or, for example, if a rust monster has a territory at the same area as a drow city, then every drow patrol will have magic weapons and magic armor so that the rust monster won't destroy them. Which means that if a party meets a drow patrol, then they will have to fight drows with magic armor and magic weaponry. If the territories of two hostile monsters overlap, then there will be constant skirmishes. Native monsters also go on raid outside their territory. They might attack other monsters in the dungeon or civilians outside of the dungeon. To select native monsters of a dungeon, you can use Appendix B of the Dungeon Master's Guide. There are also monsters which are guests in the dungeon. Guest monsters don't have a nest or a territory in the dungeon. They are one of the aforementioned raids from somewhere else. Now, intelligent native creatures might be prepared for these raids, but not as well prepared as for other native monsters. These guest monsters are usually also typical to the environment, but there are some monsters which will raid outside of their environment. While native and guest monsters are explained by the fictional world, story-based monsters are story-based. You have to explain them in your quest. The drawback is that if you don't foreshadow their presence in the quest, then the players will be blindsided. The benefit of story-based monsters is that you can put any monster into the dungeon. So if you don't find your monster that you want to use in the Appendix B of the Dungeon Master's Guide, then you can just excuse it in the quest somehow. If you would like some help with the interconnected relationship of these monsters in the dungeon, check out my D&D supplement, the Baatezu in the details, make believable dungeons. Search for Baatezu at the DM's Guild or go to algi.hu/Baatezu, that's algi.hu/BAATEZU.